Good morning, everyone. Welcome again to another How To Thursday. I hope you're having a good day. Looks a bit sunny outside. I hope you're enjoying the day. Okay, I'm trying to share my screen again this time. I hope it works. So, what are we talking today? We're talking about colors. Now, you can see some people just seem to have a natural flair of getting the colors right, whether it be with their dressing or be with their home interiors. But when we are playing with colors, we need to understand some basic principles of how the color works and how light affects colors. We all know if there's no light, we cannot see the color. So it's the amount what is reflected back from each object or material. That's how your eye detects the color. So to start with, mainly color has three categories to it. One being the hue of the color, two being the value, and three the intensity. Now this can get a bit confusing at times, but I'm trying to make I'm just working on making it as simple as possible for anyone to understand. But like I said, if you've got any questions or you feel you don't understand exactly what I meant, please feel free to DM or comment, and I'll definitely answer your question. So let's break color down. Now before that, let me try sharing my screen because I can show you some pictures, making it easier. Okay, so this is not letting me share. Oh, let's just check it again. Okay, so that's not happening. Do I have to log off? Okay, something seems to be wrong. I'm unable to share it. Okay, it's not letting me share. Okay, so that's fine. I'll try to explain. Okay, so when I said colors are divided into three categories: hue, value, and intensity. Maybe I'll just upload a PDF file after this live, so it's got colors on it for you to easily understand. Now, what is a hue? Hue of a color is the pigment. So you always see when you're selecting colors, it's the amount of red, yellow, or the blue that a color has. To understand this, red, yellow, blue, they are the primary colors. Now these colors cannot be, they are on its own, they cannot be mixed with each other to get these colors. Primary colors are on its own. So they are the main primary colors. That's yellow, blue, and red. So these are primary colors. So this is just breaking the hue down further to show how the color keeps, how you divide the colors. Of course, there's a lot more, but I'll try to explain. Now when you have that, if you mix equal quantities of two primary colors, what you get is a secondary color. So when you mix blue and yellow, you get green. Yellow and red gives you orange, and blue and red gives you violet. So those three become our secondary colors. Unfortunately, I'm not able to screen out. I just could have shared that. So mainly primary colors. Secondary colors are got by mixing primary colors in equal quantity. Now you've got between the primary colors, you've got something called the tertiary color. Tertiary color is you mix one primary with one secondary, equal quantities. Now we are talking about equal quantities, so you get the exact color in between and you get tertiary color. And that's how your main color circle is formed. I'm not sure if you can see my screen well. I'll try to do that. That is not the best way, but that is your tertiary colors that is formed. So you mix one primary, that's yellow, and the secondary, which is orange, which is between yellow and red, you have orange, which is your secondary. So when you mix yellow and orange, you get an orange yellow. So those become your tertiary color. So this, if you see, you might have seen these color wheels. These are quite popular. So it's very easy. If you've got this set of color wheel with primary, secondary, and tertiary, you can actually make selections quite easy. within this wheel, always a color opposite, they are a good match. They're called complementary colors when they're opposite each other on the wheel, color wheel. And adjoining colors, you know, they're all in a similar shading. So that's how some people you see they work with colors. So just because the screen is here, I'll show you again. Primary color, you can't see the yellow, it's quite bright. Yellow, red, blue. Secondary is mixing primary colors. So yellow and red gives orange, red and blue gives violet, and yellow and blue gives green. So that's a secondary color. And this you've got primary, secondary, and the tertiary colors as well. Now next, to understand color, that's getting a bit complicated. Next, to understand color, you need to understand the value of the color. Now what is the value? Value is the amount of light or darkness that the color reflects. Before that, before I just missed something that I wanted to say. Now when we see an object in a certain color, what does it mean? When there's light, when light falls on that object, it reflects, it absorbs certain amount of colors and reflects a particular color. The color that it reflects is the color that we see. So that is how we sense the color that comes reflecting from the object. That's where you see the color. So of course I've mentioned about hue, which is the pigment, and it's the amount of the red, yellow and blue content the color holds. Next is the value. How much light or dark. So say you've got a scale of 1 to 10, say white to black, you know, you've got white, 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 gray, 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 that color if you put in. White is referred to as a value 10. Highest value is white, value 10, and black is 1 in the scale. So if you notice one color itself, when you add white and black, how it changes. When you add white, the technical term, it's referred to as tints of the color, tints. And the black gives the shades of the color. So tints and shades. That's where the tints and shades come in. So even when you take that one color, how you can break it down with adding white, increasing the value, giving you different tints. So the moment you start adding each amount of white, how you can see, you know, it changes to a lighter tone unless it comes to the white. So from the yellow, you will have quite a lot of colors going up to the white. Similarly, yellow, you start adding black until it gets to black. There's quite another set of shades. That's how each color is split into so many shades and tints you get when you look at the actual color wheel, because it's got the main colors, then it's got the brightness. So there's white and black in it, giving you the tints and the shades. I hope I'm not confusing anyone. Please let me know. Please feel free to text or comment if I seem to be confusing anyone. I'm happy to answer any questions you have. And finally, we have the intensity. Now, what is intensity? Intensity is the brilliance or the dullness. Now, that's not light and dark. It's the brilliance or the dullness. So, how much bright or dull a color can look. Now, we easily know by adding white, you're increasing the value, but actually the brilliance comes, you're reducing it. So, it's having less intensity, but more value. But when you add black, you're reducing the value, but there's more intense. You can see the colors become more intense when you add black to it. So that is how, when you check the actual color wheel, you've got so many colors in it, because it starts from the basic primary colors. You break them down to different levels, and then further down you add the whites and the blacks, creating more tints and shades, adding to an enormous set of colors that we have. And that is why the colors, some people tend to get a bit overwhelmed when you see colors, because even when you say green, which green do you mean? There's so many greens there. Same, I always speak about white and white. Nobody would expect so many whites, but whites also have a lot of, because you've got all these tints, shades and light affecting it, there are so many variations of white. So I hope you have understood the color. Now I am thinking I'll go deep into it with how the color affects our mood and how we go into selecting colors, but I'll do it, I thought it'll be too much to do it all together, so I'll break it down and do one at a time. So I hope you've understood, you've got some idea of how the color works, starting with the three basic primary colors. We've got the hue of the colors, the value, which is the lightness or the darkness, and the intensity, which is the brilliance or the dullness of each color. So that is why we have a range of lovely colors. So enjoy your day today, and I'll catch you next week. Have a lovely day. Bye.